Carolina's offense always gets all the headlines, but this defense, it's the key to a deep March run all the way to Indianapolis.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, October 31st, 2025. Happy Halloween! Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch so you can get your Friday and your Halloween weekend going the right way. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like every Tar Heel athlete, Mazda sweats every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later in the show for this week's Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Coming up on the show today, we're going to go to a little bit of all sorts of different Carolina athletics. We're going to start with basketball and talk about how important this defense truly is going to be. And the fact that Jarin Stevenson could be a critical part of making that defense flow. We're going to talk about the football game up at Syracuse tonight. Yes, a Halloween game up in the Dome. That'll be great. And by the way, this is it. This is going to be the first ACC win of the Bill Belichick era. I feel it in my bones. We will be live postcast right here on YouTube, or if you're listening to this, come join us on YouTube or listen back to it later. We'll talk about Carolina women's basketball's exhibition loss to South Carolina last night and all of that great stuff. By the way, while you're here, if you've been seeing my hashtag free Luka shorts on YouTube or other social media, I've got free Luka here with me today. It's actually my Justin Timberlake bobblehead that I just put Luka's face in jersey on. If you're listening to it, you can't hear it or you can't see it at all, but you got to come check this out. And also, since it's Halloween, my son Paxton is being Yoshi, so I'm just rocking his Yoshi hat, but it's time to go ahead and take that off because we can't be doing that whole show long. You know what? Let's just set Yoshi up there in the background. How about that? There you go, Yosh. You can just hang out. All right, let me adjust the camera down now that I don't have a 3-foot animal head on top of my head. There we go. All right, you know what? Free Luka, you want to hang out? Sure, I'll hang out. Great. We'll just let Luka hang out with us today. How about that up in the corner right there? Okay. North Carolina's defense is critical for this team's long-term success. But what I think is such a big part of it is that the defense raises the floor in a massive way. Yes, Carolina's defense could also help raise the ceiling if it is the game-changing type defense that it could be. But at the very least, why I think this team could be much more successful than last year is because what this defense is going to do is provide a floor that is much higher than anything Carolina experienced last year. So, for example, I think Carolina's defensive prowess and capability is going to stop them from getting into the holes that they fell into time after time after time after time last year. Will the offense be firing on all cylinders right out of the gate Monday against Central Arkansas? Absolutely not. Especially if Luke is not in, or even if he is and he's working his way back, right? Free Luka, yeah. And, it's just going to take a while for this Carolina offense to gel. And frankly, probably the defense as well, because you got to get all these pieces working together as one unit. But by the time we get to December, man, this thing should be rolling. A key part of that defense, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's Seth Trimble. Yes, it's Caleb Wilson, who's talked about how much he wants to be playing defense. And boy, is he locked in. But I would like to submit to you Jarin Stevenson. It's funny, I was already planning on talking about this, and I noticed that our good buddy R.L. Bynum from Tar Heel Tribune actually wrote a great article about Jarin's defense as well that you should go check out. But think about everything that Jarin is going to bring and is already bringing to the table defensively. A week ago today, Carolina was at BYU, or in Salt Lake City anyway, to play BYU, and Jarin Stevenson drew the defensive assignment on A.J. Dybantsa. Or actually, you know what? I just listened to him pronounce his name on their roster, and it's Dybantsa. So I guess I got to flip how we've been saying that the whole time. A.J. Dybantsa. There you go. But Jarin Stevenson held him to 18 points. Does that seem like a lot? Maybe so. But I promise you this. Almost every game this season, that young man is going to score 20 or more points for BYU. He had that assignment. He took it seriously. Again, RL did a really nice job detailing how Jarin went about doing that. So keep that in mind, holding down one of the most prolific freshmen in the entire nation. But let me rewind with you to last season when Alabama came to the Dean Dome for the ACC SEC Challenge and beat Carolina. My big wondering going into that game is, holy cow, Alabama has this jumbo lineup with Jarin Stevenson, 6'10", Grant Nelson, 6'10", and Cliff O'More. You remember who Carolina went after, who's also 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, whatever. So how was Carolina going to match up with that jumbo lineup, the kind of which Carolina has been rolling out, by the way, this preseason? What I didn't think about was what they would do with Stevenson defensively. Do you remember? Nate Oates sicked Jarin Stevenson on RJ Davis. Yes, this 6'10" front court player, although he's playing the wing in that game as just a big, massive three, was tasked with guarding the reigning ACC Player of the Year and his lack of size. Cool, no problem. We thought as Carolina fans, RJ can just run around Jarin. No, sir. Jarin's length and speed to stay with RJ bothered him to where RJ, similar to what I said about AJ Dybantsa, gosh, I'm going to have to start getting that right now. That's crazy. Finished with 18 points. But hear this. 7 of 24 from the field. That's less than 33%. 1 of 11 from 3 and 3 turnovers. Now, obviously, other guys guarded him, but Jarin Stevenson had the main defensive assignment on RJ Davis. So hang on here. What you're telling me, Isaac, is that Jarin Stevenson can not only hold the reigning ACC Player of the Year to a wildly inefficient night on the road, but also can go do the same against a guy that many think is going to be the top pick or second pick in next year's NBA draft. Jarin Stevenson can do both of those things and anything in between, and he wants to do it. This dude is switchable, essentially 1 through 5, but I mean 2 through 4 certainly. Good grit. Like, did you see that chase down block he had in transition on Wednesday night against Winston-Salem State? And keep in mind that once Luka is back, we expect that Jarin's going to be coming off the bench. And so a lot of times when you think about bench players, you're like, we need a microwave scorer to come in and just provide some pop. And I'm not saying that Jarin can't do that. I mean, his threes have looked great this preseason, had some other good offensive moments. So I think his offense is truly undervalued. But in a lot of ways, his biggest help to Carolina is going to be that defense. And so whether that's part of the starting lineup as it's been in the preseason, or if he's relegated to the bench when Luka is able to play, Jarin Stevenson is going to play a ton of minutes. It's clear to me that Coach Davis trusts in and believes in this young man in his homecoming. Oh, by the way, let's remember that. Good grief. What Jarin Stevenson does to help raise the ceiling of Carolina's defense, but also Carolina's floor as a team, is amazing. And add what Stevenson has brought to the table to Seth Trimble, who we already know everything that young man does, Mr. Trimble. He's going to take on the best backcourt player of the opposition night in and night out. Caleb Wilson is Carolina's most athletic big, also switchable. Once that defensive assignment, yes, he's going to have some youthful moments as he gets it figured out, but he's bought in. Henri Veesaar, his length and size and athleticism at the rim, or you saw him tip an inbounds pass on a blob play on Wednesday night, right? Like, all of this together means for Carolina, the defensive capability that this team brings to the table every time they step on the floor, assuming they buy in, which I think they are, the defensive capability raises the floor of this team, meaning less variability in how you're going to play night in and night out. Because offense, you got to make the shots. Defense, you just got to buckle down, play as a team, and have the energy and discipline to do what you need to do. Carolina can do that. They are so switchable. So many guys that can guard multiple positions. And what does that do? Well, if that defense does what we think it does, it can allow the offense some time to gel and find its way. And that's great news. I love this. And do you want something specific to watch with this defense? How about this? A week from today, Kansas comes to the Smith Center. Darren Peterson actually jumped over Dybantsa in the final rankings of 247 Sports. Peterson was number 1 in this class. He is a 6'6" lead guard that can do just about everything. I mean, he looked great in their preseason exhibition at Louisville. What was that, last week? Yeah, last Friday. So I'm curious, how does Carolina choose to guard Peterson? Do they put Seth on him, who would give up some size? Do they put Jarin Stevenson on him and try to see if his size can bother him? Maybe Caleb Wilson. But keep in mind, so Carolina has options at their disposal. That's the good news. But if you want to see part of what's going to make Carolina great, watch how they guard Darren Peterson next Friday night. Their ability to do so could be a major factor in if Carolina can win that basketball game or not. So we're going to start learning early just how bought in and locked in this defense is. But for me, it's the DNA that is going to allow Carolina to have a wildly successful season and not even sniff what last year felt like. This is going to be, in my mind, much more a return to 2 seasons ago when Carolina was a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. There you go. Defense wins championships, right, ladies and gentlemen? You know it, and I know it. What about you, Free Luka, right? Defense? Yeah. Yoshi, you in? Of course these guys are in. Now, on the football field, Carolina has been trending in the right direction. And y'all, tonight is the night that it all comes together. The first ACC win of the Bill Belichick era. Mark it down. It's going to happen. We'll talk about that in just a second. But first, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep the game moving forward. For me, as we get ready to talk about Carolina football tonight, the moment that moved the game forward this week was Carolina's defense against Virginia, holding the Cavs to basically a quarter of their regular rushing yards per game, 6 sacks, which was more than Virginia had allowed all season long to that point. Guys like Melkart Abujade just killing it out there. I love the dedication that Carolina is putting to getting better week after week after week. Carolina's defense moving the game forward. And when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every Mazda and every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. This is it. You guys, this is the week where it all comes together and the North Carolina Tar Heels get their first Power 4 victory of the season, the first ACC victory of the Bill Belichick era. And here's why I believe that. Over the course of the past couple weeks, there was the embarrassment at Clemson and all the brouhaha the week after that when Carolina was off, where it just felt like we didn't know if Bill Belichick would be coaching the next game out at Cal. But in the 2 games since, after Coach Belichick squashed all those rumors, Carolina took massive steps forward against Cal, nearly won that football game, probably should have. Did the same against Virginia last week, nearly won that game, all the more so should have. And now they have a chance to go on the road and get a W against a Syracuse team that, quite frankly, is just as bad as Carolina has been thus far this season. When you look at this game, special teams aside, when you think about the 4 main units, Carolina O&D, Syracuse O&D, the odd man out is Syracuse's defense. You guys, they are pitiful. Yes, Carolina's offense and Syracuse offense, both offenses are equally inept. We have to recognize that. You know how we've been talking a lot about Carolina has not gotten to 20 points against a Power 4 opponent? Well, a couple weeks ago, Syracuse lost their starting quarterback, Steve Angeli, in their Clemson game. Since then, 3 games, I believe, since then, same as Carolina, haven't hit 20 points post Steve Angeli's injury against ACC opponents. And we don't know for tonight yet what they're going to do with their quarterback situation. Their coaches have been talking about all week, like, we're going to try some stuff. We don't know. So Carolina's got to be ready for anything. That could be a good or a bad thing, right? Like, hey, you don't have to face the starter, but you don't know what's going to happen with the backup. Okay, I recognize that. But when I say that Syracuse's defense is really bad, that might be putting it kindly. Let me put some numbers to it for you. They are dead last in the ACC in total yards per game allowed. 436 yards of offense allowed per game. That's just the ACC. If we zoom out to all of FBS, there are only 12 teams in the country allowing more yards per game than the Syracuse offense. And oh, by the way, only one of those is an FBS school, and that's Oklahoma State. So they're the second worst team in the Power Four, amongst the Power Four schools in terms of yards per game allowed. Going back to the ACC, Syracuse is next to last in the conference in points per game allowed, 31.3. Carolina would love to even get 2/3 of that. And if you look at their pass defense versus their rush defense, the weaker part of that is Syracuse's rush defense, who is allowing the second most rushing yards per game to ACC opponents. That is the stronger side of Carolina's offense, is the rushing attack. The combination of Juju and Jalen McGill now and Davion Goss and Benjamin Hall, these guys are really starting to make some strides here. Big opportunities. Carolina's is starting to show some signs of life. Those running backs I just talked about. Kobe Paysor suddenly is making noise and is second on the team in receiving yards just behind Jordan Shipp. Madrid Tucker last week, out of nowhere. We don't know what to expect. Who's going to be this week's random player we've never heard of that's going to step up and make a play? So when I say that Syracuse's defense is the odd man out, I mean they are awful. But the question is, what has Gio Lopez done to make any of us think that he and the offense can take advantage of that? But there have been moments the last couple weeks, where Carolina last week were a Kobe Paysor fumble and a near missed 50-yard field goal away from getting to 20 points in the first half of that game against Virginia. There are signs of life. And against this Syracuse defense, this is why I believe this is the week that Carolina gets that first Power 4 win and that first ACC win. On the other side of it for Carolina, I'm encouraged by the defense. What I'm looking to see, can they continue to take strides, right? Their best showing of the year last week against Virginia. Now, back-to-back games of allowing fewer than 300 yards of total offense to the opponent. Yes, I get that that's Cal in Virginia, but still, they went out and did it. What will the defense look like again? Are they just going to keep stacking and keep building? Even if they have slight regression from the Virginia game, they're still in a much better place. I'm really excited to see what the defense does. And by the way, this is crazy, almost crazy to even think about. But Carolina, sitting at 2-5 right now, winning this week gives you 3 wins, and call me crazy, but an outside shot at making a bowl game. If things continue to progress the way they have been the last couple weeks. Keep in mind, Syracuse is the last game Carolina will play outside of the state of North Carolina. Their final 4 regular season games after this are 2 at home, 1 in Winston-Salem, and 1 in Raleigh. If you pick off 3 of those 4 games, which is Stanford at home, at Wake, hosting Duke, and at NC State, if you can somehow win tonight and win 3 of those 4 games, you're going bowling. And I know that sounds absurd and ridiculous, but it's true. Details for this game. Syracuse favored by 2.5 tonight, 7:30 on ESPN. So get your trick-or-treating done early, get your kiddos home, and let's watch this football game. And let's watch Carolina scare everyone to death with the strides that they've made to get that first ACC win there in the JMA Wireless Dome tonight. Who are we kidding? It's the Carrier Dome. I can't call it anything, but here's my prediction for this game. North Carolina gets to 20 points for the first time against a Power 4 opponent, but exactly that. I'm going Carolina 20, Syracuse 17. It's going to happen. This game is early enough that even for, I live in Central Time. For all you East Coasters, 7:30 kick, you'll be fine. Come join us in the live postcast. We're going to talk about it, break it down, win, lose, or draw. Well, you can't draw because it's not the NFL, but win or lose, we're going to be together tonight live on YouTube. I'd love for you to come join us. Now, Carolina women's basketball played their lone exhibition game last night down in Atlanta against South Carolina, and they held their own even without 2 key contributors in the lineup. How did the young Lady Tar Heels do it? And we'll talk about that and the weekend whip around to wrap the show, all coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about DoorDash. You guys, the weekend is here and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, this player delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Carolina is Caleb Wilson, man. This dude has been consistent in each of Carolina's 2 exhibition games, essentially putting up the same double-double stat line both games. Efficient shooting, 3 blocks to go with it. I'm very encouraged, by what we've seen from Caleb Wilson. When the pressure was on, Wilson came through, no hesitation, no delay. And I have no reason to think this is not going to be a continual thing week after week. These performances, in my mind, are not flukes. Caleb Wilson has started a streak, and he's going to ride it right on into the regular season. And just like he delivered for the Tar Heels, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep that streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, and the promo code runs all the way through November 18th. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. You guys, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game, maybe you just want to get in and ride the hot hand. FanDuel's got live bets where you can check in on who's going to score the next point or who's going to have that big fourth quarter comeback. Plus, you can even combine all those live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting because you got a little something riding on every bit of the action. I said it earlier, but Syracuse favored tonight against the Tar Heels by 2.5. If you think Carolina can either cover or, heck, just win this bad boy outright, go ahead and get in on that action because right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're going to get to our weekend whip around Project 28 primer coming up in just a second. But before we do, Carolina women's basketball had their first action of the season against a different opponent last night, Thursday. Carolina, number 11 in the preseason, down in Atlanta to play number 2, South Carolina. And the final, Gamecocks win 91-82. Carolina actually won the second half of this game, encouraging there, especially when you think about the fact that Nyla Kelly did not play in this basketball game. Neither did Blanca Thomas. Coach Banghart said after the game, quote, "This was such a great opportunity, but our season's right around the corner too. You don't want to put anybody at risk." She's talking about these 2 ladies. You don't want to put anybody at risk, so that isn't fully clear to do that. We feel very confident that they'll be joining us soon, but unfortunately, tonight wasn't that night, end quote. So I think reading between the lines, Coach Banghart is saying, look, they're very close, both Renaya and Blanca, but no point playing them in an exhibition game, even though the fact that it's South Carolina. Just, we don't need to do it. The starters then were Lainey Grant, Nyla Harris, who's a Louisville transfer, Arnasalo, Ciara Toomey, and Indya Nivar. So you've got, several players back in that starting lineup. That's encouraging, and others who will be when Nyla Kelly's back as well. One of the things, Carolina loses this game. You got a lot to work on. You got a young team. But, man, there were some encouraging signs right out of the gate. One of the big things for me was the fact that Carolina was really physical, really scrappy. In fact, Coach Don Staley said post-game, quote, "They did a really good job of just being scrappy and getting loose balls. They were super physical with us." And so, man, when Don Staley is saying that about your team, taking that to her team, man, I'm encouraged by that. And I imagine Coach Banghart is as well, despite the fact that she talked about post-game. Look, we're not out here for moral victories. Like, I appreciate that we worked hard and we were scrappy and we won the second half, but I want to win basketball game. And I love that mentality from Coach Banghart. And now it's up to the ladies to start putting the pieces together in the post-Alyssa Ustby era and figure out who they're going to be. Some of the stat lines that stuck out to me: Nyla Harris, who we mentioned, the Louisville transfer, double-double, 14 points, 10 boards, 5 of which were offensive rebounds. That's great. Efficient shooting, 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 2 assists and a steal. Indya Nivar, tied with Nyla Harris to lead the team in scoring, 14 points of her own, 5 boards, 7 of 10 at the free throw line, man. Nivar just living there, 3 assists, a block, and 3 steals. Go ahead with that. Freshman Nyla Brooks, a great debut, 12 points, 7 boards, 4 of 11 from the field, not wildly efficient, fine, whatever. 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 4 at the free throw line, an assist and 2 steals. And then Lainey Grant and Sierra Toomey also in double figures. Toomey with 11 and 8, and Grant had 10 points. So a lot of good positive signs. Just got to get into the season now. By the way, the ladies' first game, just like the men, is on Monday, but they play at 11 a.m. Why so early, you ask, against NC Central on ACC Network Extra? It's the field trip day game where there's going to be all sorts of school students there in attendance. Such a fun, cool environment. Go check it out. Go to Carmichael, skip work, whatever you got to do. Little Ferris Bueller's Day Off action. Go check it out. Let's get to the weekend whip around. Project 28 weekend whip around, where we want to celebrate all 28 varsity athletic sports that Carolina has. Quick water break. Let's start with field hockey. The ladies come into the weekend 15-1 overall, 6-1 in ACC play, still first in the nation. Northwestern has slid a little bit down to 4th in the nation. Carolina wraps their regular season tonight, hosting Duke. Go get to the stadium. Check this thing out, 6 p.m. If you can't go, it's on ACC Network Extra. Duke is 11-5, 4-3 in ACC play, so Carolina should handle them pretty easily, but it's Carolina Duke. Who knows, right? Women's soccer was in action last night, Thursday. They beat NC State. Let's go, 1-0 to wrap the regular season. Unfortunately, only the top 6 teams in the ACC standings make the ACC tournament, so Carolina, who finishes 8th, is out of that. Now, I guess at the same time, assuming Carolina is going to have other postseason opportunities, it's a chance to just rest up a little bit. It's been an up and down season for the ladies. Let's recognize that, coming off their national championship. But would love to see how they go moving forward. Men's soccer, 8-3-4 overall, 2-1-4 in ACC play. They fell to others receiving votes. They fell to 28th in the standings. It's the women that's others receiving votes. The men also host Duke in their regular season finale tonight at 8 p.m. So go to the field hockey, then head over to Dorrance for the men's soccer match, also against Duke. That one's going to be on ACC Network if you can't make it. Volleyball. Holy smokes, you guys. If you thought that matchup against Louisville last week was crazy on Sunday, here it is. This is the big weekend. Carolina, again, hosted number 8 Louisville last Sunday. This weekend, tonight, number 7 SMU comes to town, 6 p.m. That's on ACC Network Extra. Again, same time as the field hockey, so you got to make your choices there. And then Sunday, number 4 Pitt comes to town, 1:30, also on ACC Network. So here's the thing for the volleyball team. Man, they've been making massive strides. Had a nice little comeback moment against Louisville on Sunday and couldn't get over the hump. Now you've got number 7 and number 4 in the nation coming to your home. Look, beat one of them. Do it. Show everybody like we're here now and we're doing stuff. I truly believe Carolina can do that. We'll see what happens. Ladies are still 21st in the nation, 16-3 overall, 9-1 in ACC play. That Louisville loss being their first in the conference. Cross country ACC championships are this morning. Like everything is happening today. It's crazy. We haven't the football game. All of those other things we've just mentioned. And another part of that is the ACC championships cross country. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. The men have probably already run by the time you listen to or watch this, 9:40 a.m. And then the women are running or did run already at 10:30 a.m. And so good luck to both of those squads. Hope you do well. Swimming and diving is off this week. Wrestling has the Southeast Open on Sunday up in Salem, Virginia. The Tar Heels are ranked 23rd preseason. 7 different individual Tar Heels ranked. Great stuff there. Fencing has some action this week. Guess what? They're also playing Duke. I mean, how much Carolina Duke can we get this weekend? Apparently it's a lot. This is going to be in the Kenan Stadium Blue Zone. How cool is that? That is tomorrow at 9 a.m. So go to bed after the football game and get up and go watch some hot fencing action. All right, you guys, that's it for today's show. Where's my man? Hey, Free Luka. What's up, Free Luka? Let's get the Yoshi head back on. We got to wrap this thing up in style. You know what I mean? Come on. It's Halloween. Shouts to my son Paxton for letting me wear his Yoshi head. Free Luka, You ready to see Carolina win a football game tonight? Oh, yes, Isaac, I sure am. Let's get after it. You guys, if you've not subscribed to the show on video and audio, do that now so you don't miss a second. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, we'd love to see you there. It's a great place to be and hang out and be a Carolina fan without worrying about a bunch of jokers messing around with you. Also, if you want to go next level with the show, you can become a Locked On Tar Heels insider. All sorts of great perks with that, including my annual record book I put out with all sorts of great Carolina data and historical records. Oh man, you want to get your hands on that. It's free to all our insiders. Come check it out. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. Reminder, we'll be live postcast after the game tonight. Luka, you want to help get us out of here? Oh yeah, the guy sure do. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tonight, but until then,